Here is a setup for doing hip CARs from side lying, or lying on your side. A hip CAR is about taking your hip, or your thigh bone, through its greatest range of motion without anything else moving. CAR, C-A-R, stands for controlled articular rotation. So it is a controlled rotation through your joint. In this position, I have a yoga block under my head. I've began in a series of 90 degrees with my knees drawn up towards my chest. And I'm going to express a little bit of everything that a hip can do. And I'm prioritizing control. So the goal, again, is to get this hip right here, where the thigh bone sits inside the pelvis, to move through its greatest range of motion without anything else coming along for the ride. So in the side lying position, one of the reasons I love this so much is because there's so much ground contact. It gives me a lot of rich feedback about the rest of my body. Here I have my leg in the ground, I have the side of my ribs touching the ground, and my pelvis here is stacked. I feel this hip that's pressing to the ground. So as I'm moving this top leg, I don't want to feel too much movement in the rest of the body. If I feel the ground rolling under this hip, that means that I'm starting to roll in the spine and open the pelvis. I want that belt buckle to stay facing forward. If I feel my ribs squirming along on the ground, that means that I'm reaching through my spine instead of reaching through my hip. So we want to create some semblance or feel ourselves staying still against the ground through the side of the body as the top hip does the work. To help with this, I'm going to create a little tension in the rest of the body. Here I'm squeezing my hands together, creating some tension through the arms, squeezing this leg, pressing it down into the ground, squeezing my belly. These things will help me create a nice, stable, stiff base around which this hip can do some work. So here I'm going in the forward direction. There's also a reverse. But we're, again, going to express a little bit of everything that a hip can do. We're going to pull it up towards the chest. We're then going to open it off to the side. And then going to rotate it. Kick it back behind me. And down. Again, up towards the chest, and we can break this down into pieces. Here I'm lifting the knee towards chest. Here I'm lifting thigh and knee towards the ceiling. Here I put a finger on my knee. If I had a rod going from knee to hip, we don't want anything else moving except this thigh rotating. Swinging that shin. So I'm going to lift that heel to the ceiling. I'm then going to push that whole leg. I can look down at it if it helps. I'm going to reach that heel, kicking it towards my butt, my backside. And down. Good. If I head in reverse, okay, or flip this motion, so I'm going to go backwards now. I'm going to start by kicking that heel back behind me, lifting the thigh to the ceiling. Right, so off to the side, we get a little rotation, heel scoops forward. Right, so here, just that thigh is rotating. Okay. Knee towards armpit and down. Okay. I'll do a couple here that you can follow along with no talking. Well done. You may see me at various points using this top hand to feel different points on the torso. This is just giving me extra information, extra feedback about whether anything else is moving while I'm moving my hip. The common one that we'll see very often is in this transition from the front of the body towards the back of the body. The pelvis, if you were to look at me from the top down, loves to rock and roll. That spine loves to bend in an attempt to reach that hip. We want to make sure that the pelvis, the rib cage stays nice and still, and that all that work comes from the muscles around the hip.
Give it a shot. 3 repetitions in each direction is a good place to start.